Okay, today we're going to talk about how to load fonts into Font Agent server. Loading fonts into the server will work this way for your on-premise and cloud services. The methodology will be the same. So how do we do this? Well, first of all, we have to make sure that we're using a client that has the permissions to share font sets with the server. In this case, I'm logged in as an administrator. That gives me overall rights for everything. So if I look at the client here and I want to add some fonts to the server, I can select any of the fonts that do not have a cloud next to them to be uploaded. In this case, I'm going to select altered fonts. Now keep in mind that you can always change the name to whatever you like to reference what that set needs to be named on the server. You can do that here before you upload it, or you can also do it on the server, and we'll show you that in a minute. So here we go, altered fonts. Now I want to upload those to the server, and by right-clicking, it gives me the ability to share font set. If I have these permissions, this will be available to me, and I will be able to share the font set with the server. Now, sharing the font set with the server does not mean that anybody is going to receive that font set that I share. It means it'll be on the server for further consideration. From there, it can be added to different sets, or that particular set you've uploaded can then be distributed to a single user or multiple users, either, again, as an individual user or as a group set. And I'll show you that. So I'm going to share this font set here. It will automatically synchronize those fonts directly to the server. It will also give you a notification here that I've shared those fonts. And shared means that it has now been uploaded to the server. Once I've seen that, I then can do the rest of the work in the server itself, and I will use the web interface to do that. I will log in with my credentials. In this case, I'm an administrator. I will log in. Once I log in, I will be defaulted to the All Fonts tab inside the server. What I would like to do is go to Sets. Because I've shared a set, I now want to be able to share that with the appropriate users. When I go to Set here, you'll see that I have a set called Altered Fonts, and I will select that, showing that it was last modified on February 13th. That is today. Now, I have some choices I can make here. I can rename this font set, let's say, Fonts from West Coast Admin. And the reason why I put that there is because in many cases there may be more than one admin, and maybe I want to add a set name that way. Or if I don't like that name, I could say Project for Star Wars. And then I could put the description in here. Excuse me, that was incorrect. I could say from uploaded from the West Coast admin. Now we know, and once I save this, now we know that this set of fonts is now Project for Star Wars uploaded to the West Coast admin from the West Coast admin, excuse me. And in doing so, now I have some way of tracking how these fonts are going to be reviewed by anybody who is an administrator. Once I've done that, I then can decide if I want to distribute it to a user. And in this case, let's say I want to add a user. I would select add user, and then I would select one user to add it to. If I'm already the administrator, I already get those fonts. That's a default. If I'm not the administrator and I don't have those privileges, then they have to be selected. So in this case, I'm going to say, well, John Smith, as an example, can now also have access to that. Or I could say I don't want any of these to have access to those fonts anymore, just the owner because I uploaded them. And I want to add them to a group instead. So in this case, I could say the fonts I uploaded that were the altered fonts that I changed the name to Project for Star Wars and add a description of who uploaded them. I could then add them to a specific group, and I could say I want to add these to production. In production, there's a few users already in that group. You can see there's 3 here. I also have an expiration, so I can expire those fonts. So keep in mind, when uploading the fonts, you can add the descriptions you need to properly place them within the server itself once you've uploaded them. From there, you can modify name and description as needed to make sure that you're delineating who or what admin is adding fonts to the server, and they can be then distributed to the correct users from there. That's a little bit about uploading fonts into the server. Now, once I've assigned that project, I can now distribute those fonts during synchronization. So then I would go back to the client and I would click the synchronization button. And if I am part of that production group, you will see that now I have the Project for Star Wars fonts that I created and renamed from the altered font set that I set up originally. So there's a couple of different options that you can do there to properly name things and achieve good best practices while uploading fonts to the server, no matter how many admins there are, what location they come from, etc.